Gaudeamus hodie, let us rejoice today. I have such fond memories of belting out that song in joyful harmony many years ago, and perhaps you do too. Gaudeamus hodie, let us rejoice today. On this Gaudete Sunday, we rejoice, Gaudeamus, to be together in this way, to share our faith, our hope, our love in community. On this Gaudete Sunday, we recall the words of Isaiah, who proclaims that God is anointing me so that I might proclaim some good news to the brokenhearted. Isaiah wishes to bring joy and peace and goodness and glad tidings to those who suffer. It's really important to remember that Isaiah was in exile along with the people when he said these words. He was not sending the good news from afar. He was part of it in the midst of the community within which he preached. And don't we all listen most closely to the people who know us the best, with whom we're intimately connected? Through Isaiah, God says, to the meek, the gentle, the poor, the outcast, to those who are set apart by sinful prejudices, God says through Isaiah, I am here to proclaim good tidings despite what the world looks like right now, despite that. We in this century do not look back on Isaiah's century with any kind of arrogance about how well we're doing. Indeed not. Rather, we look back to the words of Isaiah and the rest of the Hebrew scriptures to glean wisdom and inspiration and guidance from the experiences of our ancestors. And when we do so, we follow the example of Jesus, who did the same thing. Isaiah announces a year of favor from God. The captives will be freed. And we use this day of joy and respite from suffering to soften our minds and hearts so that God's plan for us might more easily break in and set us free from the shackles of limited thinking. Anoint us all, O God, that we too might bring about the flourishing of every person, every species, every good thing. Centuries after Isaiah, that same God anointed Mary, and she was bold in today's psalm canticle. She was bold to proclaim God's favor. And Mary says, my whole self, body, mind, spirit, celebrates the God of love, for God saw me, deeply saw me at the moment when I was broken and brokenhearted, and blessed me there and then in that moment. And so my soul proclaims the glory of the God of love, who blesses me and feeds the hungry and speaks a good word to those who need it most. Joy in the midst of brokenness. On this Gaudete Sunday, we recall the words of Paul, who says, may the God of peace make you perfectly holy and completely whole. Spirit, soul, body, completely holy, without blame or blemish. Each of these readings is in the now of the writer and in the now of us. This is not in some post-apocalyptic time. This is in the now. I recall Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers, advising us to look for God in the helpers. God is present now in the hearts and hands of the helpers in our midst. And we do indeed have holy helpers in our midst. God is present. now. On this Gaudete Sunday, we recall the words of John and realize that we too are called to cry out in the wilderness, prepare the way, prepare our hearts, open our collective hearts, O God, so that your love might pour into every one of us, that we might all be anointed like Mary, like John, like Paul, like Isaiah. Be anointed to bring glad tidings, to prepare the way, to rejoice always, to be perfectly holy and completely whole.